Hello, students, and welcome to today's class. And today I'm going to help you understand a poem, Rain on the Roof, written by famous American poet Coates Kinney. This poem, written by Coates Kinney was an American lawyer, politician, journalist, and a poet who wrote Rain on the Roof. He wrote poetry, and his verses were collected in Kiyuka and the lyrics of the ideal and the real. Of his poems, The Rain on the Roof, which was set to music, was the most popular of all. So let us understand this poem written by Coates Kinney, Rain on the Roof. Before we start with the poem, I'll help you understand the summary of the poem. The poet has given a very fine imagination, right? And he listens to the patter of the rain on the roof. He is lost in varied ideas and feels the presence of his mother. The clouds create darkness for the starry sky, and in turn, it shows its unhappiness through tears of rain. On one side, there is happiness, while on the other, there is unhappiness. What is the theme of the poem Rain on the Roof? Well, the theme is that when certain events happen, long lost memories come flooding back to our mind. Here, on a rainy day, the poet is listening to the sound made by the roof by the falling raindrops. This pitter-patter sound of the raindrops brings back lost memories of the poet about his mother and her affection towards him. The sound of rain appears to create bliss to the poet. There's also a message that this poem gives. And the message is that there are certain incidents happen in our life that evoke long lost memories, and the mind is in bliss. It may be a natural scene, or a scent, or a sound. The sound of rainfall on the roof brings back memories of the poet's childhood. Most of us have experienced the love and affection of our mother that is shown towards us during childhood, and later in life we remember them and feel very happy about it. These sort of thoughts come flooding into our mind on a rainy night when we are all alone. Now, is the title, Rain on the Roof, justified? Yes. The poem deals with rain. The poet is lying comfortably on his bed and listening to the sound of the raindrops falling on the roof. This poem depicts the overall mood during a rainy night. The rhythmic falling of the rain drops on the roof makes him remember the past, and he gets fond memories of his mother. Since the poem is related to poet's experience during rain, hence the title seems justified. Well, for your convenience, I'll also help you with a rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme followed in the poem is A B C B D E F E. I'll repeat, A B C B D E F E. This is the rhyme scheme that is followed in the poem. Today I'm going to take the first session on this poem Rain on the Roof, where I'll help you understand the first stanzas. In our next session, I'll help you understand the last stanza, and then we will also learn the poetic device. So what is the central idea of the poem? This poem tells us what the poet is thinking about when he hears the sound of the rain falling. The poem also praises the healing power of nature's rain, especially when heard from a cozy bed in a lovely cottage. So, without further ado, let's jump into the explanation of the poem Rain on the Roof. When the sky is covered with dark clouds and it starts raining, have you ever listened to the patter of soft rain on the roof? Yes, you might have. What thoughts flashed through your mind as you heard this melody of nature? So let us try to read the poem to find out what the poet dreamed of while listening to the rain. Here we go ahead with the first stanza of the poem. When the humid shadows hover over all the starry spheres, and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears, what a bliss to press the pillow of a cottage chamber bed and lie listening to the patter of the soft rain overhead. Before I help you with the understanding of this stanza, let me help you understand some words. Here, humid shadows refers to cloud. The meaning of the word hover is to hang. The meaning of the word starry spheres here refers to the stars in the sky. Melancholy means sad. Bliss means utmost joy or highest happiness. Cottage chamber is a room in a cottage. Patter is the sound of rain falling on the roof. And overhead means. In this stanza, the poet says that the stars of the sky are not visible, being covered by clouds. So, why are the stars not visible in the sky? Because they had been covered by clouds, and these clouds are laden with moisture. So, these are heavy clouds, and it will rain. So, it is going to be a rainy night. And what happens when the clouds cover the stars? There is darkness everywhere. So, the poet says that the darkness is making him sad and reflective, and the rain also seems to mirror his emotions as it looks like tears falling softly from human eyes. So the poet says that the darkness outside is making him sad, is making him melancholy and reflective. Reflective means that he thinks on some idea, there is a thought that comes to him. He's lost in thoughts. Rain seems to also mirror his emotions. They reflect the atmosphere outside, which is gloomy, reflects the sadness in the poet's heart. And it appears like tears falling softly from human eyes as it starts to rain. The only thing that can bring joy to the poet in this gloomy situation is to curl up with a pillow in the bed of a rural cottage where the poet is right now. That is his only comfort. Though the rooms of the cottage may be small, ill equipped, and inadequate, the sound of raindrops can enable him to recover from his sad and gloomy mood. So it's the night time, and the starry sphere, the sky that was covered with stars, was starting to hid behind, or rather, it started to hide behind the clouds that appeared. And in no time, all the stars were behind the humid clouds, the moisture laden clouds that were hanging up in the sky. And now there was a cover of humid clouds everywhere in the sky, and the stars had become invisible. It was darkness everywhere, and there was sadness in the poet's heart. He was thinking about something that made him sad. And this inner sadness of the poet is reflected. This, this inner sadness of the poet is reflected by the gloomy weather outside. The weather is also heavy. And this heavy weather outside suddenly starts to change when it starts to rain. And this falling of raindrops is compared to the the human beings shedding tears when they feel sad or unhappy. The only thing that gives poet the comfort is when he clutches to the pillow of his cottage chamber bed. And the poet is lying on his bed and he's listening to the patter of the soft rain that is falling on the roof above. And this rainfall, when he listens to it, the poet starts to heal. He starts to feel light. I'll read the second stanza for you. Every tinkle on the shingles has an echo in the heart, and 1,000 dreamy fancies into busy being start, and 1,000 recollections weave their air threads into woof as I listen to the patter of the rain upon the roof. Before I help you understand this stanza, let me help you understand some difficult words. Tinkle is a ringing sound. Shingles are rectangular tiles used on sloping roofs. Echo means reverberation or resonance. Dreamy fancies into busy being means imaginary stories in the poet's mind. Recollections means memories or remembrances, events that had happened in the past. Air threads are dreamy memories, and into woof means become entwined, okay, getting mixed with each other. So it has started raining, and the poet could listen the raindrops that are falling on the roof. And he can also listen to every tinkling sound that a falling raindrop makes on the shingles. And this tinkling sound is reciprocated by the echo of his heartbeat. And like thousands raindrops falling outside, there are thousands of memories that come to the poet's mind. And these are all these imaginary stories that start to come to poet's mind. So the poet becomes nostalgic. So all those thoughts start to come to him in thousands. And there are thousands memories that start to weave, that start to come together. And it forms dreamy memories. And he can see these thoughts, he can visualize these thoughts in front of his eyes. In this stanza, the poet describes how the raindrops make a tinkling sound as they fall on the shingles of the roof. Each sound made by the rain is repeated the next instant by the beating of his heart. So, what the poet has been imagining till now starts appearing before his eyes. He can see the visuals in front of him. His thoughts turn into visuals. As the poet is listening to the soft and continuous falling of the raindrops on his roof, all his memories come back to him. But they are not discrete and separated from each other, rather, they are interlinked. It's not that he is having vague and different memories. He is having memories about one thing, about an event in his past, and they're all coming together and making a picture in front of him. So they're not separated from each other, they're all interrelated. All the memories that come to him are interrelated. Instead, these memories have formed a patchwork by becoming intertwined with each other. So these are not separated memories. Maybe they appear separately, but they all come together to form a patchwork of memories, and then they intertwine. They get mixed with each other. And the memories are larger numbers and have formed a cluster in his mind while he is listening to the pitter patter of the rain upon the roof. So, this is the end of the explanation of stanza 2. We get to know where the poet is. The poet is in a rural setting. He is in a countryside. He is in a village. He's lying in the room of his cottage and he's lying on the bed. And he's feeling sad. And the sadness inside is reflected by the gloomy weather outside. It has gotten dark. And why did it get dark? Because the moisture-laden clouds have covered the sky, hiding the stars behind them. And then this gloomy atmosphere outside, it starts to weep, meaning it starts to rain. And this weeping is similar to a human expression of emotions. When your heart becomes heavy and you want to lighten it, and the only way of doing it is by crying. So the sadness that is inside the poet's heart is reciprocated in the gloomy weather outside, and it starts to rain. And raining is like thousands of drops falling together. And when these drops fall, they start to heal the poet. And this shows rain's healing attitude. It heals anything that it touches. And the poet can distinctly listen to the pitter patter of raindrops. He can also listen to the tinkling sound that is made on the shingles of the roof. And this tinkling is echoed, or it is resonated by his heartbeat. And like the thousand raindrops that are falling together, thousands of thoughts and memories come visiting the poet in his mind. And these memories are not separated from each other, they are not discrete. Rather, they all are interconnected. And when they all come together, they form a patchwork of memory. And now, what was in the poet's mind in form of thoughts, he could visualize it in front of his eyes. He could see it like a moving picture.